In this video you will see. She gently turned on the shower and began to undress. I could not believe my eyes, she was so beautiful. I also undressed and she called me to her.
It all started with the fact that I woke up on the roof of a tall building. I had a terrible headache, and I can't understand how I ended up here. But most of all, I was worried about this terrible smell, and I couldn't understand where it came from. I heard some incomprehensible sounds. I went to the edge of the roof, and I saw a lot of people. At first I thought so, but in fact it turned out that they were zombies. There were crowds, thousands of dead flesh. I was very scared. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. I thought that I was in a normal world, but I am in a world where there are a lot of zombies. The first thought that came to my mind was to get the phone and look on the internet what is happening now. But I didn't have a phone. I had only peanuts in my pocket. I remember buying this bag of peanuts in the store earlier. Well, now I'm definitely doomed. I only have peanuts. Now we'll finish these nuts, and I'll definitely die. Then out of nowhere she comes out. I could not believe my eyes. Her beauty blinded my eyes. Her magnificent forms excited me. I could not understand who she was and where she came from. I was so afraid to appear in front of her eyes. She came up, pierced a barrel of water, and washed herself. It was so sexy. I thought she was a zombie, but she turned out to be beautiful and alive. I made a small sound. She heard me and abruptly ran up to me, hit me hard in my face, put a gun to my forehead, and said, "Don't rock the boat." The only thing I could say was, "Have mercy. Don't kill me." She asked, "Who am I?" And I couldn't even answer her. Her beauty blinded me. It seems I fell in love with her from the first seconds. She was very angry because I was turned on because of her curvaceous, but I could not help myself. She was very beautiful. But before she could finish threatening me, a gigantic zombie monster appeared out of nowhere who wanted to kill us. Over the past few minutes, my life has been saturated with amazing events. This zombie attacked us, almost smeared me into a cake. We managed to dodge. I was just in shock. He had giant claws. I could not believe that this was really happening. But then from the back, she knocked out his eye through the skull. This monster resisted. She wanted to shoot him in the head, but his skull is too thick. The bullets can't penetrate him, however. She shot him in the eye, and now he just swings his claws. He doesn't see anyone. He only hears. You can't let him keep destroying the whole roof. Now other zombies will come because of him. He is very slow. She took out some incomprehensible tool. It was a bandsaw with very sharp teeth, and began to shred this zombie. I was very worried that he would not kill her. They fought. With this magic saw she cut off his arm first, then his leg, and then she completely chopped him into small pieces, after which she took out some kind of magical blue core from his head. I couldn't figure out what it was. I was just looking at her ass. She asked me what camp I was from, but I couldn't answer. I didn't know. I thought it was all a dream and thought that I would wake up now. I started to eat the peanuts that I had in my pocket. She snatched it from my hands and said, "Who are you, and where did you get valuable longevity nuts?" She could not believe that I had food. She constantly repeated from which camp and where I got such rare food. Over time, I realized that this is all happening in reality, that this is not a dream. But then she sharply put the blade to my throat, and she almost cut off my head. She does not trust me. I quickly tried to explain to her that I was the most ordinary person. I don't know how I ended up here, that peanuts were just a snack that I had in my pocket, that I bought it in a store. She didn't believe me, and at that moment they shot her in the leg. They started to shoot bullets of the future. We could not understand where they were shooting from. As it turned out, they were shooting from a neighboring skyscraper. She was shot in the leg. Her leg looked just awful. Some gang of bandits shot at us. These bullets they fired, they were with poisoned poison. She was getting worse every second. It was a virus, the zombie virus. The girl had already come to terms with the fact that she would die, because there was no antidote, and said that the people who shot at us, they were from Camp 17. They were hunting for the magic core of the zombie that she killed. I could not understand what to do now, because I love her, and she could die. She suggested that she detain these robbers, and I ran away and saved my life. The only thing she asked me to find and give her to her sister was to leave the camp, otherwise she would be in danger. The girl said that there is only one chance to survive. This is penicillin, but she did not know how to get it. This is a very rare antidote, and that most likely she will simply die. She said, "I will shoot, and you run away and save my sister," showed me on the map where her sister is and asked her to help, after which a terrible shootout began. She saved my life, and I can just leave her and run away, but I will never forgive myself for this. If only I could return to my world and find penicillin. You can find it in every pharmacy. I really want to return to my world. And then, by some magic, the incomprehensible computer turned on and asked me, do I want to use the transfer? I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. What transfer? Back to my world. The computer answered yes. The girl was at a loss why I did not run away, but I could return from this world to my own, find penicillin, and save her from being infected with a deadly poison. I did it without hesitation. I woke up in a hospital bed. There was an ordinary world on the street, traffic jams. I looked out into the corridor. There were patients and doctors there. I ran screaming for penicillin, while she was there, fighting off a gang of criminals. She prepared to die thinking of her sister. At this time, they stopped shooting and had already moved to examine her body. While I was running headlong and met a nurse with medicines, I grabbed all the medication she had and ran back to my bed and yelled, "Transfer." I instantly reappeared where I disappeared from. She was sitting almost dead. I checked if she was alive. She was alive. She was very surprised that I didn't run away. Why did I come back? I showed her penicillin, showed that I got it, and now I will save her life. She could not understand where I got it from. She was at a loss. I took out 2 pills and forced her to drink so that we get out of here together alive, because I have never met such a beautiful girl. She immediately felt better. The swelling disappears, and her leg looks much better. She couldn't believe she felt better so quickly. But then a gang of criminals came out of the roof and fired at us. They thought that she was already dead and did not suspect that she was in full combat readiness with me. They thought they were going to take her away when she comes out with her special zombie saw. They were in shock. I feel that something terrible will begin with these villains. They were completely at a loss as to how she survived and why she was still alive. Why didn't she die from the poison? They were very frightened. They all started to run in different directions. They started shouting, "Help! No, don't." Well, I just stood on the sidelines. It seemed she definitely won't need my help. Then I saw some kind of incomprehensible book. What is this diary? I wonder what is here. A few entries before people began to turn into zombies. Interesting. These are some stupid stories. Here are a few of them. 2080 July 21st. I watch my neighbor with a beautiful body with delicious curvaceous. I really like her. July 22, 2080 today. A new manager was brought to the company. Her butt is just class. She even likes me more than the dad of that girl who is opposite my house. They say on the radio that there is some kind of outbreak of the R virus in the neighboring province. I hope it does not spread to our area. But I am most interested in the new dad's dad. But then I noticed that something was wrong with her. She was infected. I hid under the table and looked. She caught the virus. The company was immediately quarantined. I was locked in a room. July 24, 2080. The virus has infected most of the city. Not enough food. I have the last bag of food left. 26 July. Regardless, I decided to pick the lock and get out. I had to go outside and get some food on my own. At first there was no one. The streets were empty. But in the supermarket, people fought over the last bits of food. In the pharmacy, they killed each other for medicines. Everyone went crazy with vandalism and looting. Everyone grabs everything they can. After I managed to pick up some food and medicine on the way back, I saw infected people biting people. I quickly ran home. August 3, 2080, 2 days ago. The television signal suddenly disappeared. The host on the last screen told us that help might not come anymore. We must help ourselves. He said that humanity will not die out. There is always hope. August 17, 2080, all the food is gone. But if I leave this room, I'll most likely be eaten alive by the hordes of infected people outside. It must be painful. For several days, I fill my stomach with tap water. I don't know how long I'll live. I miss my neighbor's big buns so much. They were so cute. And then I heard screams. My neighbor with a beautiful booty was screaming. Someone attacked her. It looks like her husband killed her. I couldn't understand what he was doing, but he started to eat it. I vomited and ran to the toilet. 4 days passed without food. I was really dying. But then someone knocked on my door and asked if I had penicillin. I traded this man penicillin for a huge pile of food. Penicillin really helped with this virus. It's hard to believe that antibiotics didn't work, but some kind of penicillin is the strongest cure for this virus. August 21, 2080, I found a man who ate dead walkers. How can he even tolerate this? Are they really very tasty? He ate what a small core from the head of this zombie. August 30th, I discovered that my penicillin, which I kept in my closet, had been stolen. I was completely at a loss. I did not understand how I could continue to survive. I have nothing left but to leave the shelter when the food runs out. 1st of September. I decided to leave this house. I didn't have any food left. I had to do something. If it gets really bad, then I will eat the infected like that guy. And that's where the story ended. Apparently, the infected won. At this time, I do not pay all attention to it. Probably the diary gave me an idea of who 200 be who 200 what is happening in this world. People infected with a virus turn into zombies and feed on living people. Judging by the current situation with food shortages, most people are infected, and the most important and valuable thing in this world is penicillin, of which I have a lot. I can get more. This penicillin is more expensive than gold in this world, and I have a lot of it. I can take it endlessly in my world and bring it here. I realized that I would be very rich, but then, at that moment, a gun was put to the back of my head. One of the robbers took a jar of my penicillins and wanted to kill me. But then she appeared. He began to threaten me, but she told him that if he killed me, she would immediately shoot him. This firefight has attracted a lot of zombies outside. They are already coming here. She told him that if he let me go, all 3 of us would be saved. But if he hesitated, then all 3 of them would be eaten here. Then he called her by name. I recognized her name. Her name was Xiao Yunlan, and he wanted to take revenge on her for his murdered brothers. He shot the cat with a hook and caught on the top floor, and let me go and promised the next time he met her, he would cut her into pieces and feed her to zombies to avenge the brothers. And I just snuggled up to her buns. She apparently didn't like it very much. To be continued.
When the shootout ended, it began to get dark, and we needed to spend the night somewhere. It was very dangerous outside. There were zombies everywhere, and they could destroy us at any moment. Xiao Yunlin and I found a secluded spot to wait out the night. She asked me a few questions. She still did not understand who I was and where I got things from the old world. Well, I'm not so simple. I did not immediately tell the whole truth. I do not trust her. I decided to change the subject by tossing her a pack of penicillin. She was in shock. For her, it seemed like a great treasure. I told her it was a reward for my salvation, and then I offered her to make a deal. I'll get more penicillin if she keeps me safe. I offered her more than just penicillin and things from the old world. I could believe that she could get all this just by protecting me. I began to list to her what I can get her from the old world. Fine dishes are the most delicious food in the world. No one has tasted it in this world for 1,000 years. She couldn't believe that I could get it all. Her stomach growled, and she screamed, "Stop." Well, then she told me that she suspected that I was from the camp of opponents and could be her enemy. Well, I immediately interrupted her and replied that I did not belong to any camp. I told her, "You can call me a spoiled, handsome man who will make your life heaven." She thought that I really saved her life and she owes me. And then she agreed to my deal. She immediately said that she would protect me and follow me. But if she notices something suspicious, she will destroy me. I told her, "You can call me Sean." After we made a contract with her, I decided to ask her about something, for her to tell me about this world in more detail. She began her story with the fact that the culprit of the end of the world is a certain virus that turned normal people into zombies, and the infection rate is 80%, reducing the planet's population from 9 billion people to 1.5 billion and turning the remaining 7.5 billion into zombies. No one knows where this virus came from, but it completely changed our world. She said that every zombie has a core inside its head. This is not a simple core, it has magical properties. Each such core will help you evolve and give you superpowers. The core can be consumed by eating it. Evolution potions are made from these cores. They are divided into 3 levels. The first level has a 20% chance of evolution, the second level 30%, and the third level 35%. In our world, the core is a medium of exchange like money. Due to the rapid adaptation of the R virus, which has developed amazing resistance to various antibiotics developed in our era, the effect of various antibiotics was minimal, and it was penicillin antibiotics that were the most common antibiotics many years ago that turned out to be extremely effective. But since a lot of time has passed, we cannot make penicillin as before due to the fact that the organisms that produced it have mutated. And so penicillin in our world has a crazy cost. Recently, people have divided into different camps and started to quarrel among themselves due to lack of food and medicine. Now we are in Chenxiao. There are only 3 small organizations, Camp 17, building land and ascending together. The group we met earlier was from Camp 17. They are an organization that burns, kills, and loots everything, has an almost perverted lust for all kinds of materials, including women, kills for pleasure, and even feeds on human flesh. The organization is large and located in another city. After listening to her, it became clearer to me what was going on. She offered to spend the night somewhere. We found a cozy place to wait out this terrible night. She invited me to sleep while she would guard me. I looked at her and could not believe that she was a real warrior, but you can't tell by her face. Then I contacted my supercomputer and told it to take me to my world. As soon as I woke up in the hospital in my world, a cute beauty was sitting on me. I could not understand who it was, but she was very beautiful. It was not clear to me why this girl was in my bed. She called me by name, and I realized that this was my mistress. I couldn't understand why she was here, but she told me why I was in the hospital. Turns out I got hit by some crazy guy, and they brought me to the hospital, and this beauty, she paid all my bills. I sat and looked at how big she was. What big breasts she had. She asked if I was hungry and offered to go downstairs for something to eat. I could not understand what she needed from me. In my opinion, she likes me. She likes my emotions. She said that she would go and buy food and various things for me. She said to make a list and left. While no one is there, I decided to deal with my system. When I turn to the system, a kind of menu appears on my hand. There were different sections on this menu: memory, transfer, charge. I wonder how do I charge it, and how much charge is left unclear. Then this girl returned with full packages of purchases. I wanted to help her. She said not to strain because I'm sick. She likes me very much, it shows. But there is a problem. I will never have enough money to provide for her and make her happy. However, if I have a system now, then I should have a huge profit from selling goods between worlds, and maybe we can be together." At that moment, the door opened. It was her uncle. He said that the father of this girl asked to pick her up and take her to a family dinner, but she was against it. She did not want to go anywhere, said that she had her own plans, but he took her by force. He told her that she could not argue with her father, told her to wait for him downstairs. He turned and started looking at me. I couldn't understand what he wanted from me. He told me not to see her again and not to drag Xiao Exu into my problems. He was opposed to us dating. I remembered that they gave me a tidy sum so that I would not see this girl. If I become rich, I can afford everything and we will be together with her. But her uncle was categorically against it. And then he told me that in my life I would never achieve any heights. Well, let's see where I'll be in time. Then I was transported to another world. It was already dawn, and it was time for us to move out. The road would take about an hour. There were insanely many zombies. We went on the roof so that they would not reach us. We walked for a long time and finally came to our destination, to our base. She threw some small pebble, and the door opened and turned into a passage between houses. We entered and got to our base. I was surprised how well it was hidden. It's really not clear that there is something here. On the floor lay a sick girl. I was very surprised. I could not understand who it was, but it was her sister. She was very sick. She was very ill, but we brought her something that would help her. We brought her penicillin, and she immediately took it. I asked what happened to her. She replied that she was wounded by a zombie. Yesterday I went on a sortie to kill a mutant zombie to get a core from him and exchange it for penicillin, but I came across scumbags from the 17th camp. My sister was worried about me. Well, I said that everything was in order so that she would not worry. She introduced me to her sister and said that I was her savior, that I brought penicillin, which saved her life. I was very surprised that two girls managed to survive in such a terrible world. Xiao Yunyuan offered me something to eat. I was just starving. Was very grateful for the food, but the food turned out to be a total waste. She couldn't understand why I didn't like it, but it tasted like an incomprehensible, terrible porridge. I couldn't believe they eat this all the time. But she was fine. They were used to eating like that. I felt sincerely sorry for these two girls. They haven't eaten normal food for so long. They get this food in the river. It is not clear where it comes from. And then I remembered that I have sweets in my pocket. I treated her to this candy and immediately saw how much she liked it. She was simply delighted with this candy. She had not eaten such a thing for a long time. It was Butterscotch the White Rabbit, said it was delicious, and I had a few more. She began to quickly eat these sweets, almost bit off my hand, and she asked for more toffees. I gave her all the toffees I had. She took one toffee to her sister. My sister was also delighted with this divine taste, although it was just toffee. I felt so sorry for them that I even burst into tears. I took out all my savings, gave them. She couldn't believe that it was all real and everything, and that they could eat it all. But I said that I have a lot of it. She was shocked and couldn't believe it was real. And in return, she gave me some strange bag. I asked what it was, and she said that these were all the nuclear that she managed to collect. She gave me a whole bag of zombie cores that were very valuable. I already imagined how I would become rich. She said all the cores that she has and said that they are now mine. As soon as she handed me the bag of zombie cannonballs, immediately at that moment, the seal on her left hand began to burn. Are they related to each other? Okay, I'll take it. Well, are you sure you want to give them all? Judging by your words, this is a very valuable thing, I asked Xiao. The penicillin you gave me and my sister saved our lives, and all the food you gave us is worth a lot more cannonballs than we have here. I asked to go to the toilet and said that I would be back soon. The toilet turned out to be an ordinary pit. But I was not very embarrassed, and I started my very important business, if you know what I mean. It was a great opportunity to learn what it is. This is the core of the zombie. As I thought, the core and the seal on the hand are connected. It somehow connects. I brought the core to my hand, and it disappeared. The computer notified me. The charge was replenished, the number of transfer possibilities. 3. And as I understand it, the cores need to recharge the system in order to move between worlds. I casually started to replenish the charge, and the kernels fell into the compost pit. In total, it turned out to charge 9 transfer possibilities. But then I realized that the bulk of the cores fell into the toilet. God, I'm clumsy. It's terrible, but I definitely won't get them. Xiao Yanlan offered me to eat their regular food again, but it's just disgusting. I can't eat that. I asked for the food that I gave her, that this food is very valuable, and you can't eat it every day just like that, especially since she got all this tasteless food from the river and the good doesn't disappear, ha ha ha. But I told her that there is nothing to save, and I have more I will bring if necessary. She wondered, said, "Isn't that all the food you had?" She didn't know that I had more food in the system's storage, but if I took it out now, it would look strange. But my supplies won't last the 3 of us for a few days. We need to go back and grab more food. I decided to lie that I'm a merchant. Every few days, they send me things to sell for food, so there's plenty of food. She was surprised and asked why I had not told before, but I told her that I was a merchant. I said that I did not trust her. He said that tomorrow I would go for the goods and bring even more food. The next day I went shopping. She stopped me and gave me a small revolver. I wondered why it was so small. But she said no matter what size it is, it matters how effective it is. She offered me her help and asked if I would like her to come with me. But I said that I could handle it myself. He said he would be back soon and closed the door. At this time, her sister became much better, so much so that she could walk. The medicine really helped, and she told her sister to follow me. They don't trust me and can't figure out where I'm from. I look suspicious to them. I have strange clothes. I don't know anything about their world. But I am very kind to them, and they protect me, and I hope this continues. I moved far enough away from our base. I hope no one saw me. I use transfer to my world. In my own world, I'm very poor, and it's time for me to leave the hospital, otherwise I won't be able to pay my bills. I haven't been able to find a job this month, and my savings are about to run out. I used to think that someday I would get rich, but in the end I'm just poor. Okay, the main thing now is to take food for my second world. Food and medicine are of course highly valued, but I have no customers at all. If I go to that thug camp, they'll probably kill me and take everything I have. I scored various delicious things, all kinds of food. Xiao told me that there are peaceful camps. It might be possible to trade with them. I hope that there is still enough space in the system storage to have enough for all these products. For one transfer, half the core is spent. You need to use these transfers less. I remembered how many cores flew into the toilet pit. At this time, Xiao tried to follow me, did not understand where I had disappeared. I just disappeared for her. She went out to the observation deck and decided to watch where I would come from. I distributed all the things that I took from my world and began to walk back to the base. But the number of zombies has increased several times. A few hours ago, none of this was there. I decided to get around them somehow, but the farther I went, the more zombies there were. I started calling for Cheo's help. I climbed very high, but it turned out that I could not go there. I wanted to go back, but it was too late. The zombies were behind me. I fell off the roof, barely able to cling to some kind of cable. Zombies began to fall behind me from the cliff. I was thinking of quickly transporting myself to my own world, but the supercomputer offered to upgrade my climbing skill. Without thinking twice, I improved the skill for supercomputer charge points, and my ability to climb ropes became like that of a monkey. It was very cool. Now I can hold on to the cable with one hand like a monk. I could also walk on a cable like on the ground. I felt like a real Spider-Man. Apparently in this world you can pump as in the game. At that moment, Xiao saw me walking on a rope and could not believe her eyes. I was very dexterous, and this only confirmed their guesses that I was hiding something from them. I was able to get to another building by cable. That road is full of zombies. I'll climb somewhere higher to find another way to the base. I decided to climb a tall building. For me, it was no problem. You can call me Peter Parker. I became very interested in what other superpowers there are in this system. I would like to try them as soon as possible. While I was climbing the glass, I saw that there were a lot of zombies in the building. They were all growling. I was able to see these zombies up close. They were very vile. I felt unreachable, and they couldn't do anything to me. I even started teasing Zombie. "Can't do anything to me, can you? Want to taste fresh meat? Well, let's. Try to catch me you can't, can you?" And at that moment, the glass started to crack, and I fell right into the room that was full of zombies. I turned out to be a complete idiot. But my arms became so strong that I could chop zombies apart with my bare hands, but there were too many of them. I jumped out of the window and began to climb further. Zombies are very dangerous. If they pierce even a piece of my skin, then you can say goodbye to life. In such a dangerous world, it's better not to show off once again. Then I noticed that I had lost my backpack. It contained all the valuable things that I brought from my world. I got very upset. It turns out that for this trip, I did not get anything, and all the precious things were lost. The problem was that I no longer had the money to buy it all over again in my world. I pulled myself together and decided to return my backpack at any cost. I went back and lured the zombies in, and they all started falling out of the broken window. They were so stupid that they all just fell out. I saw my backpack. And then I saw some red shadow. I could not understand what it was. At first I thought that it seemed to me. But something strange was happening. It was a very fast monster that wanted to kill me. It had white long hair, and it could climb walls. I hope I can handle it. Otherwise, I'm not a tenant. This mutant hit me with furious force, and I flew into the wall very painfully. He made very strange sounds, and I was very scared. He was moving so fast that I could not keep track of him, and even transfer to my world would not have saved me. I tried to run away from him, but he caught up with me. And then I quickly used all the cores for improvements. Now I can see his movements and I can dodge him. I have become very fast as Flash. My speed has become the same as his. I was hoping that if I leveled up, I could destroy him, but I can't. And I'm already running out of energy. I won't last long like this. If I slow down even for a second, he will catch up with me and bite me on the neck. What a fast one he is. He almost caught up with me. Well, then I grabbed some kind of sharp stick that fell under my arm and managed to pierce this unknown mutant. But this did not kill him immediately, and he still made his terrible sounds. But in the end he died. I got into his brain to pick up the core. I was damn glad that I was able to leave him, and then Chio saw me. I returned to the base to bring my girls sweets. The girl who was lying in bandages fully recovered and did not look like herself. I did not even recognize her the first time. She asked why I have blood on my clothes. I replied that it was Zombie's blood. She offered to examine me, which I could not refuse. She began to cling to me with her appetizing forms. It was the best pleasure in the world, and I could not dream of such a thing. And then I could not believe my ears. She invited me to go wash together. I'm even scared how it could end, but she's very beautiful. She argued that now there is very little water, and we need to save water, so we will wash together. I don't even know how to control myself. She gently turned on the shower and began to undress. I could not believe my eyes. She was so beautiful. I also undressed, and she called me to her. I immediately asked her if her sister would kill me for taking a shower with her. But she said that she and her sister also washed together. She called me again, since I ended up taking a shower with her. I was already leaning against her with my naked body. The case seemed to have reached its final, but then her sister came and threw me out of the shower. She asked if I saw her sister naked, but I immediately said that I did not see anything. I immediately decided to lie that I had very poor eyesight since childhood because I was afraid that her sister would kill me. I began to abruptly change the subject and talk about what products I brought. I brought bananas. Xiao is very fond of bananas. She is just delighted. She started eating bananas so sexy that I got turned on. She licked this banana with her tongue so gently that I could hardly control myself. I gave them all the food I brought. They were very happy. They said it was very expensive for them, and they would not be able to pay, but we agreed that they would protect me. God, they're so sexy. I take 2 of them. But then I remembered that I had little money left, and I could no longer buy groceries for them. And I also need to get cores so that I can travel between worlds. Well, then Xiao said that money is not needed. In their world, it's just paper with them. It's even uncomfortable to wipe yourself. But in order not to be discovered, I immediately made a reservation that I didn't need money, but gold and silver. At that moment, Xiao took out a huge ingot of gold from under the table, several huge ingots of gold. Now it has no value in this world, but in my world it costs a lot of money. Xiao used this square-shaped gold for the table so that it wouldn't wobble and offered to take it to me if I needed it, because she doesn't need it anyway. They don't use it. I couldn't believe my eyes. I knew that I would be very rich. Night fell, and we went to bed. I dreamed about how I sell gold and become very rich. But then Sister Qiao came up to me and brandished a knife at me. And at the last moment, Xiao caught her hand and saved me from death. She couldn't understand what her sister was doing. Her sister said that if she killed me, they could take my precious things. But Xiao began to prove to her that it was impossible, that I saved them, and if it wasn't for me, they would be dead already. They started arguing among themselves, suspecting me. Her sister Yururo said that she wanted to kill me in her soul when she called me to her place, but Xiao saved me then. Xiao began to prove that I was not like that, and that I was good. She remembered that I gave a whole package of penicillin. At that moment, I woke up and asked what happened to them. Why are they whispering? At that moment, Yururu jumped on me and said that she wanted to sleep with me. Well, Xiao joined in and said that she also wanted to sleep with me. I could not understand what was happening, but I immediately agreed. I really liked it. Her sister almost cut off my boyfriend when I fell asleep, but Xiao saved me again. How funny that I didn't even know that she wanted to kill me, and Xiao saves me. I thought she was just picking on me. Then Xiao said that she wanted to sleep with me only together, and that no one would interfere with us anymore, hinting at her sister. When we woke up, Xiao's sister said that I was one of the evolved, because she saw me climbing a skyscraper. But I began to dissuade and say that I was an ordinary handsome man, the most ordinary person. But she asked me how I was going to the skyscraper, which surprised me very much. I didn't know how she knows this. She said she had a good nose and she could smell it. I lied that I was lost, and I managed to survive only thanks to the revolver that Xiao gave me. But I didn't even take it with me. I can't tell them about the system, so I have to lie to them. And then Xiao suggested that I go shoot at the range. In the end, I never hit the target. Xiao started teaching me how to shoot and aim. Xiao hugged me and told me to relax, stand still and aim. I fired and hit. Then the system offered me to pump the ability of ranged weapons. But I have very few cores left just to transfer to my world. I asked Xiao where you can buy cores here. She said that she knows such a place 2 kilometers from here. There is a small exchange point. I think it will be possible to get cores there. I asked her to take me there. We arrived. There was some one-eyed man sitting at the entrance and smoking a cigarette. He pointed the barrel at us, but immediately realized that it was his acquaintance Xiao who had come. I explained the whole situation to him, and he asked what we want to exchange. I said that I needed cores and asked if he had them. He asked what I would give him in return. Then I put 3 excellent canned food on the table. He already wanted to take my canned food, but I told him that first the kernels. He went to the warehouse for the cores. All the cores that he had were 11 pieces. I decided to give him another can of canned food in exchange for the fact that he would look at this ingot and tell if it was gold. He confirmed that it was gold. I was very glad. It promised me great wealth. I agreed with him that different people bring him gold, and I will take gold from him in exchange for canned food. He agreed to such cooperation. He liked everything. Only he could not understand why I need gold after all. It is absolutely useless in this world, but I told him not to worry about it. I will find a use for him. The main thing is that they bring him more gold, the better. I replenished the system with all the cores, and I had 24 points. I immediately upgraded my ranged weapons ability by 4 levels, and the computer unlocked the Doom Bullet special skill for me. I had 9 upgrade points left, and the next upgrade required 16 skill points. Now I could shoot like the best killer. Each bullet hit a bullseye. I became a real master shooter. Then I remembered that I got the special skill Fatal Bullet. I thought it was something very cool. I decided to try this. The system said that Fatal Bullet can only be used once a day, and that I need to shout Doom Bullet, shot. So cool, I'm like a superhero now. And then I began testing the Fatal Bullet. I started swinging and shouted Fatal Bullet and fired. At this time, the girls looked at me like I was crazy and could not understand what I was doing. The bullet just hit the house and nothing happened. I could not understand what is the difference between a fatal bullet and an ordinary one. Well, then I'll figure it out. The girls were clearing the room of rubbish. I immediately wanted to help them, but they said that they did not need help. They were evolved, and for them these burdens were not difficult. I decided to find out how to become evolved. Xiao said that there are only 3 ways. The first is to overcome it when infected with the P virus and develop immunity. In this case, there is a chance to become evolved. The second way is to swallow a core from a zombie, but there is a very high chance, somewhere in the 90%, that you will be torn apart, and 10% that you will evolve. And the third way, you will need an evolution potion. The first level potion has 10% evolution, of the second 20%, and the third 30%, but I heard that there is an even more powerful potion here. I immediately asked where I can get these potions. I can exchange at least a whole bunch of valuable things for them. Xiao offered to take me to the United Buildings of the mainland. They are not like Camp 17, and you can exchange the evolution potion from them. I immediately agreed. We're moving out tomorrow. I asked if Yuruo won't come with us. I think she's been looking at me strangely lately. But Xiao said don't pay attention. She has problems with her eyesight. In the meantime, there were more and more zombies near our base, and soon everything will need to be cleared. Xiao's sister was left alone and was nervous because her sister did not let me be killed. And then she saw how the building at which I shot the fatal bullet collapsed. Apparently, the fatal bullet only worked with a time delay. This is very interesting. I will need it. Xiao and I moved along the city streets and tried not to make too much noise, killing zombies that we met on the way, quietly. Periodically looked at her beautiful ass. She opened the garage. There was a car there. It was another Xiao base. She said that it would take 2.5 hours to reach our destination, so we would need this car that Xiao had prepared in advance for such matters. We moved out on the highway. On the way we had a lot of zombies, but everything was in order. Xiao asked me if I really want to evolve. It's just that there is a chance that you can even die from an evolution potion. But I said that I'm not sure yet, and you need to get this potion first. The main goal as we come to the Union is the exchange of my valuable goods. I figured that the first deal needed a small amount of goods to earn trust. We continued to drive, and then we caught up with the red zombies. There were a lot of them. Xiao said take out the cannon and shoot at them, but I couldn't hit them. Xiao said that the red zombies dodge very quickly and do not care about ordinary bullets. She told me to get behind the wheel, and she would deal with them herself. I got behind the wheel. She got out on the roof and started fighting with the red zombies. They were very fast, but her special saw for chopping zombies coped well with them. They attacked her, but she, in spite of everything, she fought, and only bits of zombies scattered in different directions. But it turned out that one zombie grabbed Xiao by the leg, and she fell from the car onto the road, and all the zombies in a crowd attacked her. At that moment, I flew up. She couldn't believe her eyes how it was possible, but I killed all those zombies in an instant. When Xiao fell off the car, I abruptly stopped and with my super speed flew up to Xiao, and while the zombies were distracted, I quickly cut their rotten heads. It happened very quickly. They know how to dodge bullets, but if you shoot them directly in the head at point-blank range, you won't be able to dodge. After that, I immediately proceeded to extract the cores from the zombies' heads. Then I suddenly became ill. Apparently my body is not ready for such sudden movements. While I was taking out the cores, Xiao told me to stop. There were crowds of zombies around us. I asked from where, but she did not know. She said that we need to leave here as soon as possible. She said save ammo because there won't be enough for all the zombies. But there were too many zombies. They blocked the road, and we just physically could not drive. They surrounded us and the car got stuck. The zombies interfered with our movement. I asked how many bullets she had left, but there were very few rounds left. I had 10 left. I remembered that I could use the fatal bullet. I found out from the system that I can use only 1 bullet per day for free, yet subsequent bullets will cost 1 core. I bought 7 fatal shots and only had 2 points left to carry. I thought that if the fatal bullets fail, then I will return to my world. But then the chair will die. I cannot allow this. We were locked in the car, but it saved us from the crowds of zombies. We sat with her in the car, and she shouted at me that I had spent all the bullets, but the zombies had not diminished much. She said that you should always leave at least 1 bullet. It will come in handy. I asked if 1 bullet would be of any use. She said that she always saves 1 bullet, the last one, and keeps it for herself in case she gets bitten so as not to turn into one of these creatures. In this world, death is at every turn, and she has long been ready to die at any moment, Xiao said. She also advised me to leave 1 bullet in such a case. I thought about it. I fired all the fatal bullets, but had no effect. Zombies both stood and stand preventing us from passing. The rain continued to fall, and Xiao said that at least we don't have to worry about dying of thirst. We collected buckets of water through a hole in the roof. Xiao said that if the zombie is distracted by someone, Then we will have a chance to get out. But this is very unlikely. It rained for a very long time and was very heavy. An unpleasant smell began to soar in the air. Xiao said that it was the smell of rotten flesh. After a while, we took enough water, and from thirst now, we will definitely not die. She said it was quite heavy rain, and it hasn't happened in a long time. And said that if it rains another day, we will see something interesting. I could not understand what she means. She said that zombies themselves are immortal, but water can wash them away. When water hits them, their dry skin swells, and it seems that they have become alive again. However, it is only temporarily that they continue to absorb water, and their skin continues to swell and swell to such an extent in at some point she can't stand it and bursts. Zombies still won't die from this, just their appearance will become more interesting. I asked her to stop talking about it, because just a little more, and I would have been sick because of this smell and these detailed stories. Some time passed, and the zombies' skin really swelled up, and they began to look like people. Xiao looked at them and talked about how wonderful it would be if the world was still normal. I saw that she was dreaming of a normal world. I asked her what she would do if the world were normal. She said that she would like to become a confectioner. I think this profession would suit her very well. We sat another day, and nothing has changed. Then I came up with a plan B. If nothing changes, I will use my ability. I will take the Xiao in my arms and run over the zombies' heads. It will be very dangerous, but I don't know what else to do. And at that moment, there was a huge flash and lightning struck near our car. There was a frantic roar. Everywhere it was very bright. We closed our eyes. Lightning struck several times around our car. We could not understand what was happening. But after a moment, we realized that all the zombies were dead for real. They were all killed by a lightning strike. Xiao said that we need to clear the road from the zombies. Otherwise, we will not be able to pass. They were still hot from the lightning strike. After that, the weather cleared up sharply. We were very happy because we survived. It even seemed to me that some kind of love spark slipped between us. We arrived at our destination, where we were met by guards. We were told to get out of the car and asked if we were looking for asylum. But I explained that we were merchants and came to exchange valuables. As a result, we were let in and told to show the goods. I showed the canned food that I brought with me. The chief guard immediately opened it. Xiao was outraged by his action, because we had not received anything in return yet. But I said it's okay, just taste the product and tell me how you like it. The subordinates of this sentry swallowed saliva while he ate these canned food. He ate the whole jar and said that he had not even tasted it. But I told him that I still have it is not a problem. He ate as many as 8 cans and gave the rest to his subordinates. They almost got into a fight over those crumbs. He really liked the canned food, and he decided to take us to the head of the city. Said to follow him. Went through the city. People were selling different things. I could not believe that they live in these terrible houses. The sentry said that these were all refugees whom the head of the city welcomed to the city. If not for him, they would all have turned into zombies. And then 2 people began to sort things out in front of us. One accused the other of stealing the medicine. But it turned out the second person was a girl disguised as a guy, and she really stole the medicine. Wow, she seems very unlucky. I immediately ran up to this man and said that everything can be discussed peacefully. He yelled at me and told me to back off. He said that she stole medicine from the warehouse, and medicine is dearer to all of us than food, and spontaneous use of medicine is punishable by death. One has only to order the head of the city, and we will not leave a living place on you, he said to this girl. I counted this sweet girl and told her to give the medicine. But then the sentry said that we had nothing to worry about, and she would be punished according to the internal law of our city. While we continued to follow our sentry, That guy scolded that girl. We were told that the head of the city is very busy today and will not be able to receive us, so we need to wait until tomorrow. They handed us the key and said that there is a room on the second floor where we can relax with the chair. The next day, when we were walking down the street, some old woman asked all the passers-by for her granddaughter, but no one knew where she was. We saw this old woman, and I immediately realized that her granddaughter is the girl who was caught yesterday for stealing medicines. I ran to my grandmother and said that her daughter was caught stealing medicines and she is now in the courthouse. Grandmother began to say that it was all because of her and the granddaughter was stealing medicine in order to cure her grandmother's illness. Grandmother said to be punished instead of her granddaughter. But then the guard ordered us to go so that we would not be late for a meeting with the head of the city. Before our meeting, we were introduced to the head, and he gave the go-ahead for us to come in. He asked my name. I said my name is Shuang. He said that the canned food that I brought very much to the guard. I immediately suggested that the head try my canned food. This fat man tried one and immediately ate all the others. He was simply delighted with the deliciousness of this food. He said that these canned foods are 10 times better than the ones he usually eats. That will take all the canned food that I have and give in exchange what I want. I said it's a great deal. He asked me what I want in return. I said that I need cores, evolution potions, and more gold. And he agreed to the deal. Our deal went through.